Hello, everybody. Lisa Sabaniak here from lifelikeyoumeanit.com. And today I would like to talk to you about the struggles with moving forward because of fear. So, this could be fear of anything really. And a lot of times we don't even realize that we are afraid. And if we do, we don't really even understand what we're afraid of. So, this is such a vast topic that I would like to focus this particular video on looking at the fear that comes up with business. Okay, so like I said, when we're talking about fear, we often don't even realize what it is that we're afraid of. So it could be that we're afraid of the unknown. It could be that we are afraid of rejection, right? Of putting in all kinds of effort into our business, whether it's our launch, a new product, a new service, or something else that we're going to be putting in a lot of time and effort towards, and then it not working out the way that we wanted. And for some of us, that fear can actually even go beyond that and be, I'm afraid of ridicule from other people, of people saying, I told you so, of being unsupportive, things along those lines. Right. But oftentimes our fear is surrounding the sense of I could fail. And also, without us even realizing it, a fear of success, because we get ourselves trapped in our mind and not even realizing that we've experienced a lot of success in our past. It may be not on the scale that we're looking for our business with this particular thing that we're working on right now, but we have experienced success before. And because we're not good at allowing ourselves to really enjoy that success, celebrate that success, and in some of our cases, even acknowledge that success, then we think that in that fleeting moment that we've never experienced it before. And so we become afraid of, well, how will we deal? How will we handle the stress? Will we be able to maintain that level of success? And now suddenly we've got something to lose, right? That if we get ourselves up here with our business and we can't keep it, it's going to be a fall down. Whereas if we don't and we just kind of hover on the surface, then it's just a little stepping stone down. Right? And these are the things that are going on in our unconscious mind without us really even being aware of it. So, what this can lead to in your business in particular is procrastination and this idea of perfectionism, right? So, really, you're just procrastinating or distracting yourself from what it is that you need to do under the guise of needing it to be perfect, right? You need this perfect launch, this perfect product, all the back behind the scenes stuff to be functioning perfectly before you go ahead and launch this service or this product, this offer that you've got. And while some of that is valid, of course, you want to have some systems in place to be able to have things run smoothly. Really, what you're doing is you are procrastinating and allowing yourself to get distracted so that you don't have to deal with that fear, so that you don't have to deal with the possible failure or rejection that you could end up facing, right? So this obviously can have a huge negative impact on your business. So it's really important that we get to the bottom of this and we eliminate it. So here are some of my tips for strategies that you can use to start to change this for yourself. And most of these are all NLP based, neuro linguistic programming. So the first thing that we want to do is we need to get clear on what beliefs are running your show, right? Because if you believe at the heart that you're not good enough, then that is going to be raising all of this fear for you, right? You're not good enough to be successful. So what if you become successful? And it'll just fuel that fear. Right. And oftentimes, some of our beliefs that we actually have are not even about ourselves, and yet they're running our show. So you really need to get clear with yourself on what your belief is about money, for example, what it takes to be successful, what it even looks like to be successful. All of these types of beliefs actually impact the decisions that we make, and they can either, hinder us or they can propel us forward. So, the easiest way to figure out what your beliefs are is to pay attention to how you speak to yourself, right? What is it that you say when things are going wrong? What is it that you say when things are going right? What is it that you're saying to yourself kind of behind the scenes in everything, even when it's not business related? What's the type of language that you're using with yourself? And then, if you had to describe your business to your friends, your colleagues, your neighbors, whatever, how are you talking about yourself and about your business as well? So, starting to really pay attention to those things will give you a really clear idea of what the beliefs are. And that awareness really holds a lot of power. There is not necessarily a lot that you have to do to combat those beliefs once you realize what they actually are. Because as soon as you bring awareness to it, that's when you actually start to question. Right? Well, where did I actually form that belief and why do I believe that? I know lots of people that make lots of money and while they are working hard, they're not working the type of hard that I've got this really deep rooted belief about, right? Or people that have a belief that people that have more money than what they need are somehow dodgy, right? Somehow they've stepped on the backs of the little people. Those types of beliefs as well, right? And then you just naturally start to look at your life and say, well, actually, I know a lot of people that have a lot more money than I do. And then the most generous, kind, and caring people that I know. So you don't actually have to put forth a lot of effort to start dispelling the myth towards these beliefs. The hard work comes in you actually raising your awareness on what those beliefs actually are. Then, since we're paying attention to the language that you're using to discover what your beliefs are, I also want you to pay attention to the language itself. So, we often catch ourselves saying things like, things never work out for me, or I always put all kinds of effort in and it never works out the way that I want, right? Using these kinds of terms like always and never, right? They're very misleading for us, and they can really cause us to disregard all of those other times that actually we had great success. Actually, we put in the effort and the work and it paid off, right? So we want to really catch ourselves when we are saying things like always and never. And really, again, that awareness immediately causes us to start to question it. Is that really true? Do things never work out the way that I had hoped? Right. And that just starts getting you thinking along different lines and starts to bring, again, awareness for how you are speaking about yourself and about your life and how that is impacting you. So let's start challenging some of this language, right? And some of these beliefs, even. And you can do this quite honestly by just asking yourself some reflective questions, right? Is this really the case? Have I really never experienced success? Have I really always failed at the things that I have tried, right? And I always put failed into air quotes because I really don't believe in failure. I believe that it's always an opportunity to redirect our attention towards the thing that is actually the best for us, right? So while it might still hurt that it didn't work out the way that we had wanted, and we have every right to mourn that loss of it not working out the way that we wanted, as soon as you can, kind of flipping that switch so that you look at it like, all right, so that obviously wasn't supposed to work out the way that I had looked and worked for it to work out. So what do I need to do? Right. And sometimes it's ditching it all together, and sometimes it's just the smallest of tweaks, but looking at it like it's an opportunity. Right. So when you start to look at it like that, then even the times when you can full hand on heart say, yes, I have failed. I have failed. Things have not worked out the way that I had wanted. A lot of the times when I really had my hopes up, you can start to actually shift that and say, okay, but am I in a better place now? right? Have I actually had a really great life experiences because of that not working out exactly the way that I wanted at the time? It doesn't mean that it didn't hurt, of course, and that you hadn't been really disappointed and even had to mourn the loss or grieve, if you will, over that loss. But we are able to just switch our perspective a little bit and allow ourselves to see that we have benefited in some way from that experience happening. But then, of course, allowing yourself to really recall all of those times when things worked out the way that you had wanted. Because often, like I said in the beginning of this video, oftentimes we don't allow ourselves to actually celebrate those successes. Sometimes we don't even acknowledge them. We're just so busy moving on to the next thing that we don't actually even allow ourselves that right to actually really be proud of ourselves for what has happened. So, this is where you allow yourself to do that and you start to show your consciousness and your unconsciousness that actually I have had plenty of times when I have been on the right track. I have put in the effort, it has paid off. I was just so busy looking to take the next step, or I was so busy fearing success or believing that I didn't deserve it or I wasn't good enough or that type of thing that I just didn't allow myself to appreciate it, maybe even acknowledge it, or certainly celebrate it. And so now I can. And you start to actually show yourself and rewrite that script, right? No, it's not I always fail at things that I do or things never work out. It's just there's been a few times when that really impacted my life, right? That's how you can look at it a bit differently. And so the other thing for awareness is for you to start to look at why is it that you're talking to yourself this way, right? For some of it, it will be beliefs like that's it. I have this deep rooted belief that I'm not good enough. And so I talk to myself like I'm not good enough. But sometimes we can dive a little bit deeper with that and realize that, yes, that is meeting this need to keep us in this comfort zone of feeling like we're not good enough because that is where we feel safe, right? We've been saying that to ourselves for so long, we don't know what it looks like to start approaching the edge of that comfort zone, never mind moving out of it. And so then that brings the whole comfort zone into play. What you are doing right now within your business that's generating this fear, that's maybe looking like perfectionism and procrastination and distraction and all of that good stuff, right? Is it that it's just pushing you outside of your comfort zone or towards the edge of that comfort zone? Again, where you might actually have success and prove to yourself that you are good enough. And that directly goes against what that narrative in your head is telling you, right? Is it that, oh my gosh, now you're going to have a new level of success and you don't really know if you can maintain that. And so now there's fear around, well, I could lose something now, something that if I just didn't step outside that comfort zone, I wouldn't risk having to lose. All right. And then there's one last thing that I want to talk to you about in terms of this fear holding you back from being able to move forward in your business. And that is if you are afraid of the people around you's response to things not working out the way that you had planned. We all have that one person in our lives at some point in our lives, if not always, that is the Debbie Downer, right? Sorry to all the Debbies that are out there. It's just an expression, right? But they're the people that are always, I told you so type of mentality. So when things are going right, they have to seem to need to say something to remind you of some failings that you had before, or they are bringing up things of, oh my gosh, well, this could happen or that could happen, and they're catastrophizing things so that you start to worry, right? And really they're just meeting their own need. It really has nothing to do with you, and it has everything to do with how they've learned how to prop themselves up. They've learned how to make themselves feel better by putting somebody else down. And so when they see that other person starting to stretch and starting to move out of their comfort zone and have some successes, they don't know how to feel successful themselves if somebody around them is having that success. So the only way that they know how to do it is on their past experiences, the habits that they've taught themselves, which is to put that person down so that they feel like they are above them in some sort of way. And so it really has nothing to do with you, right? It has everything to do with them. But I would just urge you that if you do take a serious look in your life and you see that actually, as I'm bringing awareness to myself and what my behaviors are and why they're there, right? What beliefs are running my show, what I'm getting out of behaving in this way. And I'm starting to bring that awareness so that I can make different choices. Part of that awareness is realizing that the other people in your life are not necessarily as aware. And that is totally fine. It's all right to accept people where they are on their path. But at the same time, if their lack of consciousness, if their lack of awareness is actually working against you, and meaning that you have to actually put in so much more effort around this person to try to feel good about yourself, and it's not really serving you well, then you have every right to make a different choice in your awakening, in your awareness, and decide that actually I would prefer to surround myself with other like minded people who feel good about themselves by lifting others up, by praising them, by working with them to figure out solutions instead of catastrophizing and bringing out the anxiety in me. And so I'm going to go and start looking to expand my friendship circle and my coven, if you will, so that I've got that type of support system. And when you do that, you start to notice that you bring in people who are just that one, maybe two or three steps ahead of you from where you are right now, but they're not so far removed from where you are that you feel anxiety and feel like you can't get to where they are. They're a manageable step away. And so they act as the a role model that you really need to be able to practice excellence yourself, so that you can look and see, you know what, that worked really well for them. And if that can work for them, it can also work for me. And so you can start either just emulating and doing what it is that is working for them. You can learn from them and ask them questions, and you can start tweaking the things that work from them for them so that it works for you, because you are a unique person, right? But it gives you that drive to move forward rather than surrounding yourself with people that are more than willing to put you down. Again, not about you, it's about them. But the effect on you is something that you have the right to make a different choice about. Sometimes you can make that choice where it's just changing the way you are perceiving their comments and their behavior. And sometimes you're not in a place where you can do that. And the best move for you is to actually move on from those individuals and surround yourself with different individuals that are vibrating more where you're at now and also where you want to be. We can all use a little help from time to time to sort out what's going on in our minds and direct our thoughts in a more useful way. And that's exactly why I empower you to overcome whatever it is that's holding you back, whether that's your belief systems, whether that's your language, whether that's physical circumstances, right? And I do that through the study of NLP, neuro linguistic programming, which is the study of excellence. The work I do allows you to be more successful in your day to day life, and successful people lead happier, more fulfilled lives. So, making the right decision now will help you to make the changes that you need in your future. So, when you've made your decision, please go ahead and book your free discovery call with me today. Just go on over to lifelikeyoumeanit.com/calendar. I look forward to working with you.